Hey everyone, ready to dive into some shop floor secrets? We're talking molding machine operators today, getting you prepped to ace that interview.
And it's a fascinating field, honestly. You need those hands-on skills for sure, but acing the interview is also about showing you can think on your feet and work as part of a team, like the whole package.
Exactly right. This isn't just about button pushing, it's about understanding the process inside and out.
Yeah.
And with skilled manufacturing jobs on the rise,
Well, let's just say this isn't your grandma's factory anymore.
you got it.
We've got RoleCatcher's Career Guide, hot off the presses from November 2023, and a stack of real interview questions we're going to break down, so listeners, get ready to take some notes.
The guide's really interesting. It highlights how important it is to have both technical skills and be a good problem solver.
Yeah.
You need both to really succeed in this role.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Picture this. You're in the interview, and they hit you with the classic, can you describe your experience operating molding machines? Sounds simple enough, right? But how do you make your answer stand out from the crowd? That's where being specific really matters. Instead of rattling off a list of machines, talk about the actual types of molds you've worked with, the materials, even the production volume you handled. Did you do sand molding for metal? Or more on the plastic injection side, making, say, car parts? Give them a real feel for your experience.
So it's like, don't just tell them, show them, right?
Yeah.
You've been there, done that.
Exactly. And this is actually where RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer, you know? It can actually analyze your answers and compare them to the exact wording of the job description. How cool is that?
Whoa, that's huge. It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket. Okay, let's say they throw you a curveball. What safety precautions do you take when operating a molding machine?
Oh, that was huge. You absolutely have to show them you're serious about safety. It's non-negotiable in this line of work.
Yeah, it's not just about keeping yourself safe, but also your team and the equipment too, right?
Right. Obviously, mentioning the basics like gloves, safety glasses, those steel-toed boots, that's a given. But take it a step further. Talk about lockout procedures, knowing where emergency stops are, being familiar with material safety data sheets, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you've nailed the safety question. Now they want to know how you handle problems under pressure. How do you troubleshoot problems with a molding machine? This is where I feel like that mechanical skill from the guide comes in, right?
Totally. The guide actually says it's 54% important for this role. Think about it. A mold gets stuck mid-cycle. Every minute is costing the company money. Your ability to think fast makes all the difference.
So how do you answer that without just sounding like you're reciting from the instruction manual?
Walk them through your process. Do you check the pressure gauges first? Maybe consult the manual. Is there a specific component you always check first? And if you can, share a real example of a time you solved a tricky problem on the job.
Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of tricky, this next question is all about quality control. How do you ensure consistent quality in molded products? I feel like this one can make or break an interview.
It's about showing them you understand how the whole process connects to the final product. Remember how the guide emphasized attention to detail and accuracy. This is where you prove you've got those skills in spades.
Okay, so how do you showcase that attention to detail without getting too lost in the weeds?
Focus on the practical steps. Like, do you regularly check the temperature and pressure? Do you visually inspect every single mold for defects? Have you used specific tools for quality control, like calipers or gauges?
So you're demonstrating that you're not just going through the motions, you're personally invested in the quality of the product.
Exactly. Now, how about we switch gears to a question that really tests your ability to handle pressure? How do you prioritize tasks when operating multiple molding machines?
Okay, yeah, this is where things get interesting. It's not just technical skills anymore. It's about time management, organization, all those soft skills. Paint a picture for me. You've got multiple machines running, things are getting hectic. How do you stay calm and in control?
It's like being a chef juggling a dozen dishes at once. You got to have a system, right? You could say something like, I always prioritize based on urgency and importance. If one machine's about to finish its cycle, I'm focusing on that first to avoid errors or downtime. But at the same time, I'm keeping an eye on the others, ready to jump in if any alarms go off.
It's constant scanning, assessing, reprioritizing. You're like a well-oiled machine yourself.
Exactly. And this actually ties into another big point from the RoleCatcher guide, teamwork. Yeah, remember that question we touched on about collaborating with your team? That one often comes up with the multitasking thing because, let's be real, keeping things running smoothly means everyone's got to be on the same page.
It's like you're all dancing together on the shop floor, right?
Yeah.
Got to know your own steps, but also be in sync with everyone else. So how do you convince them you're a team player?
Communication is key, right? Highlight how you'd keep your team in the loop, like, are there any machine issues? Maybe something's behind schedule, even just how things are going before a shift change. And make it clear you're a good listener, too, taking feedback and following instructions.
So it's a two-way street, speaking up and being receptive.
100%. You could even say something like, I'm always happy to lend a hand if someone's got a heavy lift, or if they're stuck on a problem in their machine. We win or lose as a team, right?
That attitude. So switching gears a bit, there's this question: how do you maintain a clean and organized work area when you're running a molding machine? Seems like a small detail, but I bet it says a lot.
Oh, you're spot on. A clean workspace equals a safe and efficient workspace. Think about it. Spills, tools left out, just general clutter. Those are accidents waiting to happen.
And probably reflects poorly on your attention to detail too, right? Like if you don't care about your space.
Exactly. So when you answer, emphasize your system. Maybe you stick to a strict cleaning schedule, clean up any spills right away, put all your tools back at the end of your shift.
Shows you take pride in your work, respect the equipment, all good things. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty now. How do you ensure you're following all the safety and quality rules when you're on a molding machine?
This is where you get to show off how well you know the industry standards. Remember how we were talking about RoleCatcher's AI and how it helps tailor your answers? Imagine it analyzing your response here to make sure you're using the right keywords about compliance and regulations specific to this job. Pretty cool, right?
It's like having a secret weapon, making sure you're speaking their language.
Exactly. And in terms of what you actually say, be specific. Got any certifications, shout them out, OSHA training, anything on quality control. It all proves you're serious about meeting those standards.
Shows you're not cutting corners, which is huge EE. Okay, last but not least, let's tackle this question. How do you stay up to date with all the latest trends and technology in molding machine operation? This field is always changing, so showing you're committed to learning is essential.
Yeah.
It's like you're not just operating today's machines, you're prepping for whatever comes next.
Exactly. The guide mentions joining industry groups, reading trade publications, which are great, but think about how you can show that you're actively learning. Have you been to any conferences, webinars, online courses about new molding tech? RoleCatcher can even point you towards some good ones.
That's amazing. It's like having a direct line to what's relevant right now. But it's not just about what you read or the courses, right? It's about that genuine interest.
You got it. Maybe you've tried out some new software at work or experimented with new equipment. Whatever it is, the point is to show them you're not just okay with the way things are. You're curious. You want to grow.
Okay, wow, we've covered a ton today. This has been like a masterclass in prepping for that molding machine operator interview. What would you say is the most important takeaway from all of this?
It's tough to pick just one, but for me, it comes down to this. You got to bring those practical skills, yeah, but also that ability to communicate clearly and show you're always looking for ways to be better. That's what makes a candidate stand out.
So it's like you're saying, hey, I can run this machine in my sleep, I can talk about it like a pro, and by the way, I'm always hungry to learn more.
Nail on the head. And don't forget, RoleCatcher's got your back through all of it.
They really do. From building your resume to practicing your answers, it's like having a career coach on speed dial. Speaking of careers, I wanted to touch on something the guide brought up. It's not just about landing this job, it's about where you can go from there, right?
Absolutely. It talks about starting as, say, an entry-level molding machine operator and working your way up, maybe to supervisor, even manager of molding operations down the line.
Wow, now we're talking. And that's huge.
It's about going into that interview with a vision, you know? Not just for the job itself, but for the kind of career you want to build. Show them that ambition, that drive.
Like, hey, I'm not just here for a paycheck. I'm here to make a career out of this. So much of it, I think, comes down to confidence, right? Believing in yourself, your skills.
Confidence, preparation.
Yeah.
You got this. We've got this. All of us.
You heard it here first, folks. We hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to absolutely crush that interview. Now go out there and show them what you're made of. Until next time, happy job hunting.